Thank you for joining me for this post-leg workout or maybe post-run class. We're going to get started today in a tabletop position. So coming over onto our hands and knees, so taking the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're just going to start with some gentle cat-cow movements. So inhaling, lifting the chest and the tailbone. Exhaling, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone, rounding the back. Inhaling, lifting the chest, the chin, the tailbone. Exhaling, arching the back, pressing down with the hands, protracting the shoulders. And just keeping that movement going at your own breathing pace. And maybe taking a little bit of forwards, backwards motion into this. Maybe a little bit of side to side, or taking some gentle barrel rolls. Just gently warming up the spine and the shoulders. And just allowing everything to slowly come to a place that feels a little bit more comfortable. When you're ready, come into a place of stillness here. We're going to tuck the toes if they're not already tucked. And on a big exhale, we're going to take the hips all the way back and up into our downward facing dog. And maybe taking a gentle pedal of the legs. So bending one knee at a time and allowing the hips to rise and fall. Maybe taking a gentle twist at the shoulders, looking from side to side under the arms. And then coming to a place of stillness. On the next inhale, bending the knees deeply, looking forwards to the space in between the hands. And then exhaling, stepping forwards into our forward fold. On the next inhale, we're going to lift the chest, the arms up overhead. And then exhaling, hands down to the sides into our mountain pose, Tadasana. So I'm going to guide you through one round here of Sun Salutation B. And this is just an opportunity to check in with the legs. So see if there's any tightness in the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, all throughout the legs. Just paying attention. So this is going to be our check-in round. So on the next inhale, lifting the arms up over the head. Exhaling, folding forwards. On the inhale, lifting the chest halfway. Exhaling, planting the hands, stepping back into our plank pose. One big inhale here. Exhaling, lowering halfway or maybe all the way. Inhaling, lifting the chest and the chin. Exhaling, taking the hips all the way back and up into our downward facing dog. Now on the inhale, we're going to step the right foot forwards. Inhaling, lifting the arms up overhead. Exhaling, taking the hands back down to the mat, stepping back to plank. One big inhale here. Exhaling, lowering halfway. Inhaling, untucking the toes, lifting the chest. And then exhaling, taking the hips all the way back up into our downward facing dog. On the next inhale, stepping the left foot in between the hands, bending the knee, lifting the arms up overhead, opening the chest. And then on the next exhale, taking both the hands down to the mat, stepping back to plank. One big inhale here. Exhaling, lowering halfway. Inhale, the chest comes up through the arms, lifting the chin. Exhaling, pressing down into the hands, taking the hips all the way back and up into our downward facing dog. And once again, taking a gentle pedal of the legs, bending the knees one at a time, and again coming to that place of stillness, maybe bending the knees, maybe lifting the heels, but you want to find a nice straight line from the hands all the way up to the tailbone, reaching through the fingers. On the next exhale, we're going to slowly walk the hands back towards the feet, and we should eventually end up in our forward fold. So maybe hanging out here, and your hands don't have to quite reach the mat, right? So you can take a gentle bend to the knees, or maybe take hold of each of the elbows, maybe tuck in the chin, and if you've got any tension in the shoulders, maybe interlacing the hands behind the head, taking some of the weight out of the neck. Breathing in here, and with every exhale, allowing the tension to just drain out of the backs of the legs. Feeling the release all through the calves and the thighs, the hamstrings and the glutes. Taking a deep inhale here, and then on the exhale, planting the hands on the mat, and we're going to walk the hands forward again. So we're coming back into our downward facing dog. And once again, taking a gentle pedal of the legs. Maybe they feel a little bit different now. And then when we find that point of stillness, we're going to take the left hand back towards the right ankle, twisting the body towards the right, looking under the right arm. On the next exhale, taking the left hand back. Breathing in here, exhaling the right hand back towards the left ankle, looking out under the left arm. Breathing in deeply, exhaling fully. Taking the right hand back on an exhale. Taking one big deep inhale, and then on the exhale, once again, we're going to slowly walk the hands back towards the feet. And we're back in our forward fold here, but this time we're going to take the legs to a point where they're straight. And so keeping the back straight, that might mean lifting the chest a little bit, drawing the shoulder blades together, and maybe resting the hands on the hips, the tops of the thighs, or maybe allowing them to come down towards the mat, seeing which bit is the most comfortable for you. So maybe trying out a few of those places. With every release, allowing the tension in the legs to slowly drain. One big inhale here. On the exhale, taking the hands back down towards the mat, slowly walking them forwards again. We're coming back into our downward facing dog. And maybe again bringing a little bit of movement movement to the legs. Maybe lifting the ankles, maybe bending the knees. Maybe taking a few yeses and nos of the head, checking in with the neck and the shoulders. Has any tension built up there? From here, we're going to come to a place of stillness. On the inhale, we're going to lift the left leg all the way up behind. Exhaling, bending at the knee, taking the left foot over towards the right glute. Taking that left knee as high as possible. Opening up the hips. Breathing in here. On the exhale, straightening the left leg all the way up as high as it'll go. Exhaling, taking the foot back down to the mat, downward facing dog. On the next inhale, lifting the right leg all the way up behind. Exhaling, taking the right foot over towards our left glute, lifting that right knee as high as it'll go. Again, feeling the release through the front and maybe the sides of the right hip. On the next inhale, drawing that right leg long. Exhaling, taking the foot back down to the mat. One big inhale here. And then on the exhale, once again, for the last time, taking the hands back up towards the feet into our forward fold. And from here, we're going to inhale, lifting the chest, drawing the back to straight. And we're going to take our peace fingers around the big toes. So maybe taking a gentle bend to the knees in order to reach them, right? Closing the loop with the thumbs. We're going to inhale, drawing the legs to straight, lifting the chest, keeping a nice straight back. And then on the exhale, we're going to fold forwards, maybe tucking the chin, drawing a little bit of length into the back of the neck. But drawing the shoulders away from the ears. And again, keeping the neck nice and loose, taking any little yeses and nos with the head. One last big inhale here. On the exhale, bending the knees, taking the hands down to the mat, and we're going to walk them forwards for the last time, finding our downward facing dog. Taking one big inhale here and rolling the hips up and forwards into our plank pose. One big inhale here. Exhaling, lowering to chaturanga. Inhaling, untucking the toes, lifting the chest. And then on the exhale, we're going to take the knees down to the mat, sinking the hips all the way back into our child's pose. Inhaling, coming up into our tabletop. We're going to tuck the toes, sending the hips back and up into our downward facing dog. On the inhale, taking the right foot forwards. Hands come up over the head, lifting the chest, bending into that right knee. Exhaling, hands down to the mat, stepping the right foot back. Exhaling and lowering. Inhaling, lifting the chest. Exhaling, taking the hips all the way back and up into our downward facing dog. On the inhale, We're going to step the right foot forwards, bending into the knee, lifting the chest and the arms up overhead, opening the chest, reaching through the fingers. On the exhale, hands down to the mat, stepping back to plank. Exhaling and lowering. Inhaling, upward facing dog, lifting the chest. And then exhaling, downward facing dog, lifting the hips all the way up and back. On the exhale, we're going to step the left foot forward. Inhaling, drawing the hands upwards, lifting the chest, maybe lifting the chin. And then on the next exhale, taking the hands down towards the mat, stepping back into our plank. Breathing in here, exhaling and lowering. Inhaling, lifting the chest, upward facing dog. And then exhaling, taking the hips all the way back and up into our downward facing dog. One big inhale here, exhaling, taking the knees down towards the mat and just feeling the stretch here in a kneeling position all through the fronts of the thighs. Maybe taking one last little wiggle of the hips. And then on an exhale, we're going to come down into our final resting pose. So maybe a child's pose. Maybe Shavasana. And thank you very much for practicing with me.